Recording in progress.
So welcome everyone to tonight's My Self-Reliance class, and for those who are watching the record, welcome. And tonight is really all about you and how we're going to get through this war. I'm going to call it a war in one piece. I'm just going to share my screen with you, and we're going to have a look at what is it we're going to really take. Okay, what is your number one asset? What are you really looking after? It's you. So whenever we think about the most important thing that we need to do first is we put on our own oxygen mask before we help the person next to us. Because once we take care of ourselves, then we're in a better position to pull the next person up. Okay, when we can't expect to scramble and be pushing anyone up the hill, we won't have any energy left to get ourselves up. So what we need to do is we need to look after you, and then you can look after those around you. So I want to share with you a little quiz. In a disaster, who do you think would be the most vulnerable? And you can type this into the chat. Would it be A, pregnant or breastfeeding mums, B, the elderly, C, non-English speaking people, D, people with medical conditions, or E, those that are unfit or obese? And there's probably others that would fall. I could go F and G, but we'll just do with these ones. So who do you think would be the most vulnerable group? Okay, some people have said A. Simone, you want to pick a lot of them? All of the above? Yeah, I didn't give a D for all of the above, did I?
Sorry, I was kind of doing it in order, so I would say, people with babies and the elderly are kind of equally vulnerable. I'd say non-English speaking people would be least vulnerable, because I know a lot of non-English speaking people, and they have quite a lot of skills as far as surviving. They'll blow their nose on a leaf if they need to, or they know how to kill animals. Quite a few of the people I know. I wouldn't say they were vulnerable in some aspects to disaster. Yeah. I've experienced quite a bit of it.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Thank you for that response. So, it is true. We have to think about people have all kinds of things that they're dealing with, right? But if you don't come under any one of these A, B, C, or D, or E, you're probably in a better position, can I say? Okay, so let's have a think about you, and think about your health. So we're going to do a bit of a deep dive into your health and your wellness, and see how you would fare. So let's start with healthy eating. Now, if you have a pen and a paper nearby, I want you to write down. You're going to rate yourself at the end of me talking about this section. All right, so healthy eating. When it comes to eating a live, healthy food, your habits for healthy eating, we know that if you have a good gut, your gut is your second brain, and whatever you feed your gut is going to help you to respond. Your brain actually has to respond to those things that you put into your gut. So if you want more energy or better sleep or to think more clearly, then it all starts with your gut health. Eating fresh fruit and veggies, Do you like fresh fruit and veggies? Is your plate fairly beige? Are you used to eating a lot of takeaway or fried foods? Are you used to shopping down the middle rows and buying a lot of, I guess, long life foods? So where do you feel like you sit on the scale of 1 to 10, 10 being my healthy eating habits are like a 10. You don't have to put this in the chat. This is just for you. So rate yourself where you feel like you fit on that scale of healthy eating. Is it something that you have got really sorted for yourself, or do you feel like you're a little bit addicted to sugars or dairy or carbs, or do you feel like you couldn't live without some of those foods?
And Kelly, 10 is the best?
10 is like I'm rating myself like I've got that area, I'm completely sorted. Yeah, so 10 is like really good. Yeah, you're probably at 10, you're like, I don't really have any worries about what I'm putting in my body.
I think me personally, I'm very inconsistent. So I will have spates of being healthy and eating well and thinking about my gut health, and then I'll have periods of being inconsistent and splurging on takeaway and that sort of stuff. So I think I'm probably in the middle, because I'm not always bad and I'm not always good.
Yeah, and if you're anything like me, Simone, then you do a bit of an 80-20 rule, right? Like I call it your zig to zag, right? So you kind of know what the right things is to do, and occasionally you let yourself splurge. So
yes.
Yeah, so,
I'm lucky in that I'm allergic to chocolate and nuts.
Well, and I think that when I actually do think you're lucky too, because other people, when they say to me, if I eat chocolate, then I get a headache or whatever, I'm like, wow, that is such a superpower. Because if you are really aware that when you eat certain kinds of foods, it causes you to react, and then you're able to make better choices because of that, that's awesome. Because a lot of people will eat chocolate till the cows come home and then wonder why they feel the way they feel, or same thing with fried foods or whatever, and then go, I just feel lousy and I don't know why. Well, because you are aware of that, that's like a superpower in my mind. Okay, so have I given you a chance to rate yourself on the scale of 1 to 10? I'm going to move on to the next area. So you don't have to tell me. This is just for you.
I just can share one of my habits. It's good to buy glass containers and to prepare something like cut fruit or cut veggies, and it is really easier to grab something what can be better option, or to make homemade hummus or other kind of the dip a bit more than usually, and having, for example, cut carrot and celery in the glass jar with cold water. Usually I know that if I am really starving, I will grab to this kind of the sticks with the hummus and then whatever.
Yeah, thanks for that, Betty. And that's really true. Like if you we live in a time where we want fast and quick and easy. So if you make your preparation easy for yourself to be able to then snack easy, you're going to make better choices than if you like, oh, well, it's going to take me another half an hour to prepare that. I just can't be bothered and I don't have time. Make eating healthy really easy by doing a prep session, and then you've got your healthy food in the jars. Like Betty was saying, it keeps it fresher, and then you're just like, I'm ready for a snack, and you can just go for it.
This is funny reaction. If I have, for example, whole apple, I can't eat it. But if I cut it for some pieces, I will eat it without any problems. And it really works.
Yeah.
Cutting, just having cut.
Trick your mind. That's right. That's how I feed my kids their fruit and veggies. I cut it up for them and then it disappears. If I just gave them the apple, no, it's not going to go anywhere. So yeah, 100%. And that's how I get through, you know, a whole bottle of water is I put it in a bottle, but if I had it in a cup, well, I wouldn't get through a whole liter or two. So little tricks to eating healthy is going to make a big difference overall.
So Kelly,
yeah.
Sorry, I think it's echoing through your computer. Maybe that's why everyone's echoing.
Are you hearing echo? Are you?
Yeah, everybody who's speaking is echoing. Do you want us to rate ourselves for each dot point or just overall for healthy eating?
Overall.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I will just fix my sound a little bit. Thank you for mentioning that. Okay, I think hopefully that will help. It'll help the recording anyway. All right, next one. Fitness. Give yourself a rating when it comes to your endurance. So, you know, there's lots of ways that you can look at fitness, and some people who work out can work out for body shape and look good. But when it comes to your survival, it's much better to have a functional fitness. So fitness for endurance, for strength and flexibility is going to support you much better in the long run. So, okay, thanks. I'm just getting some. Okay. I'm just going to mute a few people so that we can not have the echo. I think that's what they were saying. Okay, so when it comes to your fitness, then there's a few things that you can do to increase your fitness for your everyday. You know, besides if you like to go to the gym, you know, you might be working out particular muscles. Well, try doing that with the kids, lifting the kids instead, having functional fitness, picking up, maybe, you know, collecting wood is going to be a more of a functional thing that you need to do than it might be picking up, I don't know, you might be doing dumbbells to try and raise that fitness, but what's the purpose? It might be, you know, collecting wood for firewood, for instance. So, you know, we know that as we exercise, we release those endorphins, release the stress, release the feel-good chemical, and also you become proud of yourself. So how often are you exercising or moving or strengthening your flexibility? Give yourself a rating on that scale. Okay. And then I'm going to go to the next one. I hope they've given you enough time to think about that. Next one is mental health. So when it comes to your mental health, it's all about your thinking. Where do you think from? Are you thinking from a place of calm and clarity and creativity when you deal with your situations? Are you quick to be aggressive or to respond rationally, or do you panic? Do you have anxiety? So being able to think clearly or have ways of looking at a situation positively, reframing, being able to gauge yourself in how you take a situation. I was speaking to my friend today. She had both of her parents in South Africa die of COVID within 8 days of each other. And she's an incredibly positive girl. And I think I mourned for her longer than she did, but for her own parent. But she realized, she said, oh, you know, it's actually lucky that they died together at the same time, because they would have missed each other otherwise, or they, would have had to have gone through it all over again. And I said to her, it wouldn't matter if you had one parent or you had both. It's the way that she always takes a situation and looks at it from the best possible angle that's going to empower her in no, they weren't vaccinated, it was COVID. And they were elderly. But it's how we think about things that's going to allow you to have the freedom to move out of a dark space and into the next space. And not to say you shouldn't grieve, you should absolutely grieve and go through that cycle and that process. And so let's go into the next one. And that's with your emotions. So if you're on a grieving scale, then you should absolutely feel every emotion. Like, there's no bad or wrong emotions. You're there to feel all of them. And it just matters how long you stay on that emotion. Okay, so when it comes to love and relationships, do you find that that's easy for you? Do you feel like you are a person that's easy to get on with? You are likable and like others? When it comes to forgiveness, do you hold on? Do you let go easily? Do you find fault or want to, find the good side of people? Contentment. Are you trying to get somewhere? Is life like, I'm not happy until I am XYZ, have this or can do that? Or are you happy with who you are right now? Or are you finding the fault with yourself? So having a think on that scale. Now, a beautiful book that I read by L. Halrod, he talks about, he went through a car crash where he thought he'd never walk. He went through a life and death situation with the disease that he thought that he would also die from, so he nearly died twice. But while he was in the hospital after the car crash, and he was quite young, he was in his, let's say 19-ish, and he laid there and he thought, well, what am I going to do next? Am I going to sit here and be miserable, or am I going to get over it? And he was used to giving himself a time limit for how long he would stew over something. And at first he would be quite angry for a while, like most people. And then he was taught to give yourself a time limit, and he would actually set the timer for 5 minutes. And he says, I'm going to be angry for 5 minutes. I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to be fully in my emotions for 5 minutes. And when my timer goes off, I'm done. That'll be it. I won't dwell on it anymore. I'll just let it all go. And he practiced this for such a long time that he would wait for the timer to go off. He's like, oh, I've still got 4 minutes to go. Oh, well, I'm done with that emotion. I'm over it. And so he actually got down to a minute. It was like, and then he got even down to lower. I'm like, oh, well, I'm bored of that, dwelling in that. And so he learnt to give himself that time limit and then move on from that. And when he had his car accident, he did the same thing. He gave himself 5 minutes. I'm going to be really upset about this car accident. And then he let it go. And he next turned his thoughts to, all right, well, what's next? Am I going to stay like this forever? Well, that's not acceptable. And then he started to decide, well, what am I going to do to make myself walk again? Anyway, the doctors thought this is very unusual. He's completely in denial. We need to be worried about him, and he put him on suicide watch because this is just abnormal. So they said to his father, can you have a talk to him, because I think that there's something going on and he's not telling us. And so his dad sat him down. He said, son, are you okay? No, are you really okay? And his dad, like, Dad, you know me. You know me much better than that. I am actually really fine, and I'm really ready to move to the next level. And so he had to retrain the people in his life that actually that's who he was. That's who he was for himself. And so, and because that's who he was, then he was clearly successful in walking again and running a marathon, amazing business. And he had a mantra then that he was going to live until he was 103. And to do that, he decided all the things that you need to do in order to live till 103. And he lives every day deciding, is what I'm doing today helping me towards my goal, or is it taking me away from it? So if you want to go read his book, it's absolutely incredible. I'll get the name of it for you, but the author is called El Halrod.
How do you spell that? Sorry, Kelly.
E-L and surname Halrod. And it's called The Miracle Equation is the book. Okay. So hopefully you've given yourself a chance to have give yourself a rating on emotional resilience. And this is just for you. You don't have to put in the chat. Okay, number 8, your spiritual health. So how do you rate yourself when it comes to your relationship to, you might call it God, the universe, a greater being? You might not believe in a higher being. So what is your relationship to your life purpose? What do you say that you're here for? Do you know? Have you questioned that? Have you come to terms with what you're here for? And are you comfortable with death? You know, they say there's only 2 factors in life that that you can count on, is death and taxes. Well, forget taxes, I'm over that. But you know, we all know that we're going to die, and except a lot of people are not comfortable with death, and then find a lot of time grieving over a loved one who has passed, which is quite perplexing to me, because it's not like they could hang around forever. Okay, so usually when it comes to why we grieve over someone's loss, yes, we might miss them, that's completely different. But if we're grieving over the loss of somebody, then maybe there's something else that's unresolved about the relationship, or the way they lived, or the way you lived, and not necessarily death itself. But being able to come to terms with what happens after you die, I think is a super important part of living. And I also say that there are the 2 most important days of your life. It's the day you were born and the day you realize why you were born. Okay, the day you were born and the day you realize why you were born. And you all are put on this earth for a reason. And if you haven't figured out what your purpose is yet, then I implore you to soul search a little bit and have a think about what your life is about. And if you feel like you're a person who keeps to themselves, that's okay. But where does that come from? And is it
hurt and pain that has caused you to feel like I need to just stick to myself because I don't want to be hurt and I don't want to feel pain? And do you feel like you're really living, like you're getting the most out of life? So, you know, when you can let go of hurt and pain, you can really experience all of life's depths, the ups and the downs, without making it mean anything about you. Like, we all have great days, we all have down days, and it's to be expected, and because that's how we grow. You know, we can never really become our full potential if we are trying to keep ourselves safe all the time. Okay, it's out kind of there on those skinny branches where we really get to experience how great we really are. And because the reason that I'm talking about all of these things is because as we go through this challenging time, it's really going to prove what you're made of. And the fact that you are here on this call means, or watching the replay, means that you have chosen to not take the easy way out. Okay, and so already what you're made of is tough stuff. All right, you realize that there's an awakening that's happening for you. Like, I'm not just going to go along with being told what to do and taking the easy way out. And you know, that's what a lot of people choose to do. But you have a lot of strength in you, and I want you to realize that. And if you've rated yourself low in any of those areas, well, now it's an opportunity to go, okay, well, where do I want to be? What is it going to take for me to get to where I see myself feeling whole and complete, and where I can feel I can really function my best from? And maybe you need to just take another look at how you've rated yourself and go, am I being too harsh on myself? You know, that could be a thing. I've been rating myself like with the stick, you know. So be kind to yourself. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to break you up into your breakout rooms, and so that you can.
Sorry, Kelly, just while you're doing that, I just got logged off then. Could you just make me a host again so I can create these breakout rooms quickly?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, sorry, I just lost all that.
Okay. So I am going to stop my share there. And what we're going to do in our breakout rooms is just, you don't have to share with the people in your breakout room where you rate, but maybe just share one area that you want to work on, that you feel like, if I could strengthen this area, then this would make a big difference to me. Or maybe share one aha moment as I've been talking that, you know, is important to you, that you see that you could do that would strengthen that area. Okay. And if, you know, just feel comfortable with the people around you, just to share whatever you feel like is coming up for you, as comfortable as you want to share. So, okay, I'm going to stop the recording. And if you are watching the replay, then do jump on and meet with us on a Tuesday at 8 p.m. Sydney time. We get together and have these amazing conversations, and you can get to know other people in your area who are like-minded. And also, as a little side note, a little plug, I do coaching sessions. So if you want any coaching in any of these areas, health and fitness, not healthy eating, mindset, resilience, and also self-reliance in determining what you need, then I can coach in all those areas too. And that information will be going up on the website. So I am going to stop the share now, and thank you for watching the replay, and hope to see you